I wanted to ask you about some of your CNN appearances, and I think you always do a great job. Let's start with Scott Jennings. I just think he's so smug. And it seems like these people on the right, they want to attack you because of your age when you just destroy them with facts. And Scott Jennings did that. Ben Ferguson did that to you. I'm wondering, do they even talk to you off the air? Do they shake your hand, and are they different off the air? Do they say anything to you when the segment is over? Or are they those same people and they treat you the same way off the air as on the air? Like, let's start with Scott Jennings, for example.
He's affable. I'd say he's an affable person. And you said you're debating Tim Pool in a few weeks. Mm-hmm. You'll find that when you walk in, everyone's affable, everyone's nice, but when you're debating, you don't really pull any punches. But yeah, the age thing, a lot of people in the audience, like the right-wingers in the audience, think that I was trying to say in that CNN debate that because I'm 22, I can't be held accountable for anything, or that I'm trying to avoid accountability. But that's actually not the point I was making, obviously. It's that you can't hold me and Donald Trump at the same standard or nearly even similar standards, yet it seems like I'm held to a higher standard than the president. So I'm like, I'm not going to apologize for anything when Donald Trump is clearly doing this. But overall, all I'll say is that everybody's pretty affable behind the scenes.
That's good. That's actually good to know, because when I see Scott Jennings or Ben Ferguson with that smirk on their face and how condescending they are at times, it makes me believe that that's who they really are. So you're telling me when the cameras are off, they're actually quite friendly and cordial to you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. Good to know that. What about Kevin O'Leary? I mean, you kept on bringing the economy up with him and how so many people are struggling. And all he kept doing was talking about the stock market. All he kept doing was talking about the market, and you exposed him for being the boob that he is. I mean, what was that interaction like for you, sitting right next to him and having that conversation?
That was my first time on, and it was pretty solid. I mean, he's also nice. He's somebody who, it's interesting, a few weeks later, I saw a video of him giving business advice, like a few years back when he was a bit younger. And he was like, the best time to be invested in your business and put all your time is when you're in your early 20s. And then he did this whole thing about being in your early 20s. And I was like, this is so weird. He's actually giving salient business advice. But a few weeks ago, he seemed to be completely ass backwards on tariffs. A lot of these people are just beholden to the talking points, but they are nice behind the scenes. I mean, you've been to the Trump rallies. And I understand that these people are like, you look around and you're like, this is brainwashing. But I'm sure you've also been to the Trump rallies and had experiences where you go to like buy a water and you're like, this is actually quite a sweet person right there. So it's this weird, of course, yeah, it's this weird dichotomy where like people are nice. They're usually a little bit brainwashed. Kevin O'Leary was also nice. I was surprised at how much he kept returning to the same talking points. I think that, being in your early 20s and being sharp has its benefits, I guess.
Yeah, I think it has quite its benefits. That's why you're doing so well. I wanted to ask you, you're saying that they're cordial and they're nice off the air. Why do you think it's an act? Do you think like a guy like a Scott Jennings or a Ben Ferguson actually believe what they say, or do you think it's one of those things where they're just a talking point, literally a walking and talking point for the Republican Party? How do you see them? Are they genuine with? Do you think they actually believe what they say?
I think that it's really just like the Marco Rubio effect, where a lot of these center-right conservatives who for decades have had, you could argue rational positions, like you could disagree with them, but Marco Rubio at the end of the day is pro-NATO, understands that Russia's a bad guy, and oftentimes was just wacky on abortion, healthcare, and a number of other issues. You know what I mean? Like it's something that you could actually argue with. I'd say most of these people would rather be taking those positions, taking more normal positions, but that doesn't really get you in with the base nowadays. So they want to be in, and politics is at the end of the day for power. In order to gain power, you need to have a base, and there's a base to play to. It's the MAGA base. So I think that they're overall just playing to that.